Welcome back to CasualBiasRugby URC round 4 done and dusted, and we've got a lot of talking points today. We've got a lot to get into. If you watched this morning's Safas Unscripted episode, if you do follow myself, Divan and Brett Burnz on that, we do appreciate you guys. It's been wild. The comment section has been wild, and I kind of want to bring up some of the talking points that we had in that podcast when we look at round 4 of the URC in today's video. And I want you guys to share your opinions in the comment section, because I don't know, I find it really interesting. Like it's been a weekend of a lot of ups and a lot of downs, and we'll talk about literally all of it. Anyway, please do remember to like and subscribe. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you don't mind, just go to these socials above my head and just shoot me a follow on that as well if you do enjoy the content. But anyway, we'll get into it, and we'll start off. Let's rather not start off with just round 4. Now, we're starting off controversially. As you know, the South Africans like a bit of ref blaming and those type of things. And I need to say this, and I can't, how do you say this, focus on this enough, that no ref costed any team a game. Especially I'm focusing on the South African teams because I watched that a bit more in depth. No ref costed the Sharks the game. No ref cost the Stormers their game. Okay, both of them shocking and terrible, and we'll speak about their game as a whole in a bit. Right, but I think this weekend was a very, very bad weekend in terms of ref mistakes. Now, I know people don't like to put a lot of the blame, if you could say it like that, on referees and stuff. But in my opinion, if you can call out rugby players, you can call out the coaches, you can call out staff. If you can call out the teams for being bad on a day, you can call out a ref as well. That is their job in the end. They do have their linesmen, they do have the TMO to help them out. So a ref to have a bad day at the office, obviously you don't want to go onto them, get into them like too harshly or anything. They are still human. I don't advocate for calling refs out in for instance, comment sections and threatening their families or anything like that. But when we say a player has been bad, you can also say that a ref has been bad. And I think the refereeing standard of this weekend in the URC was terrible. Obviously, I'm focusing more on the South African games, but also I don't think the ref did himself any favours in that Leinster game. And I need to kind of explain it. And I know people will hate the fact that we talk about refs, but you know, Saffas like to blame a ref. But I feel like we kind of need to set the standard, and we have to talk about it, because we always talk about accountability. We want to hear what the coaches and the rugby players say after a bad performance in a press conference, and we want to slaughter them or whatever. But like the ref is like this protected species. When we look at it, I just feel like there's so much inconsistency, and we've brought it up for a long time, and I do believe it's a valid discussion. You know, let's talk about. We'll start off with the Bulls game. David Kriel, red card. By the letter of the law, yes, it is a red card. Okay, was it physical enough, in my opinion, for a red card? Should it have been a red card? Probably not. But by the letter of the law, it is a red card. Okay, I'm not disputing that. That's a forearm to the throat, you could say. But then again, like, why is the tackler face to face with him? You know, like if that forearm's not there, that's a smash of heads. There you go, right? But then you look at Benetton versus the Sharks. Francois Venter gets smashed into yesterday, head bouncing off the player's body / shoulder because he's way too high. Like the tackler had absolutely no intentions of tackling him safely. Whacks his head against the ground, only a yellow card. And you think, which one probably hurt a bit more? Which one was more dangerous? And yet the one of David Kriel gets a red card. Now, I agree, by the letter of the law, as I just said, that is a red card. But it's just like, how did we think about some of these things? Then you look at the Stormers versus Edinburgh game, and there were so many mistakes, blatant mistakes. I couldn't believe what I was watching at a certain point. Like, I've got all the footage on my phone, but I can't put it out because obviously this is copyright. You know how World Rugby is in terms of copyright and whatever. But you look at the referee of that game. Edinburgh goes over for that first try. He awards it without seeing a grounding, without seeing anything. He doesn't know where the player placed the ball. He just awards the try. You see on the other angle, the most blatant knock-on that you will see in your life. Like, he didn't even place the ball on the ground. But how can you award a try but not even looking where the try's being scored? Not even looking at it. Like, he had no vision of the ball whatsoever. He just awarded the try because he saw a guy diving over the ruck. Brock Harris obviously came through with some great defence and saved it in the end. But, I mean, that was shocking. Then you look at the Stormers getting some momentum. The most blatant hands in the ruck from an offside position even gets ripped out. They get the ball. They kick it out for 50-22 because we fumbled it there at the back. The ball gets spread wide from Edinburgh to Darcy Graham with a forward pass and a knock-on. And it still gets awarded. Like, explain that to me. How Darcy Graham's try gets allowed with that knock-on over the goal line. But then you look at the Bulls game. Marcel could see with exactly the same thing. Literally the exact same thing happens. Marcel could see his try gets disallowed. You look at that knock-on that they called for Edinburgh, as I just mentioned. That was a blatant knock-on. Alright? They called that it's just been lost, but it was lost backwards, so Edinburgh gets the scrum. Yet CallmeMarcello does this. Obviously, Edinburgh goes on to score from that scrum as well. CallmeMarcello does the exact same thing, and they call it a knock-on from CallmeMarcello there. When it's the exact same thing that just happened. So, the inconsistency of these decision-making was blowing my mind. I couldn't understand it. Like, just completely blows my mind. Then you look at JD Schickerling, right? Leland Zas goes into the corner. You call it back because of a technicality where they say JD Schickerling ripped the ball and who had the ball of Edinburgh? I can't even remember. He had the ball. JD Schickerling ripped it. The ref doesn't call release. He doesn't call tackle made or anything. So obviously JD is going to try and rip that ball. He rips the ball, we go and score in the corner. They call it back for that technicality, but they don't call it back for the blatant hands in the ruck that Edinburgh goes on to score from. Like, that's what I mean with just pure inconsistency. Leinster Munster calls off the Munster try for being a forward pass, while it's literally the most flat thing in the world you'll see. If you literally look at the meters, you know Momentum usually takes the ball forward. The Momentum didn't even take the ball forward. Like, I thought it was a normal pass. I can't even remember. Was it to Calvin Nash who went in the corner? Gets removed. Like, the refereeing standards of this game, absolutely shocking. Even the commentators called it out. Literally the final game of the weekend. Lions plays against the Dragons. Lions in the lead. They have the ball 5 meters out, just trying to, like, kind of secure the ball or whatever. The most blatant offside steal you'll ever see. Even the commentators are like, he'll do anything to get the ball. They see the replay and they like, even come in blatantly from the side. I mean, how can you miss some of these things? That's why I'm talking about, like, accountability. Like, we want to protect these refs. Obviously, you don't want to put pressure on a ref or anything. But you want to put pressure on them in terms of getting blatant things right. Like, pretty easy decisions, especially when you have two helpers on the field with you, or right next to the field, and you have a TMO. Like, it's almost disgusting. That's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. But anyway, I'm done with my ref little rant. I just thought this weekend was a very, very poor performance when it comes to the referees. But that does not take away from the fact that I think the scorelines and stuff reflected the game. Well, let's start off with the South African teams. Benetton, Sharks. I just said that the ref and especially the Stormers Edinburgh game. But even though the refereeing was bad in that game of the Sharks Benetton, well, it wasn't that bad in that game. Just that one inconsistency. The Sharks were embarrassing. That's what they were. I mean, they never looked like scoring. A couple of times, okay, yeah, they were in the 22 or whatever, and they knocked the ball. But there was no system. They leaked points like it was absolutely nothing. I mean, they made Benetton look like the most clinical team in the world, yet Benetton has really struggled to get any points against any team this far. Like, they played at home against Scarlets and got 15 points or 20 points or something like that, but really struggled. Drew against Scarlets. Then get smashed. They literally get smashed by Glasgow, and the Sharks team goes there and make them look like prime Barcelona, if this was soccer or football, whatever you want to call it. The Sharks, terrible performance. I don't know what Plumtree told these guys when they were out. We said it on the podcast. Vincent Chichuka, when he spoke after the game, he looked like he saw a ghost. They did not expect anything. Like, the amount of missed tackles, the amount of just blatant unforced errors, the amount of nothingness that was going on that field for the Sharks was absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not going to say you need your South Africans back or whatever, because with that squad that they have, you are expected to win that game, or at least make it competitive, because we know Benetton is good at home, and I'm not taking anything away from Benetton. Rhino Smith, absolutely brilliant, right? I'm not taking anything away from Benetton. They were scintillating. But if you look at these two teams on paper, you look at the one that's just won the Challenge Cup, they've won the Currie Cup, they had a great end of the season in the URC, and you go out and you put on a performance like that when you know your Springboks are coming back, you look like you had nothing to play for. Yeah, literally. That was a shocking performance by the Sharks. Like, it was damn near disgraceful and embarrassing. Like, some of these guys looked terrible. And I mean terrible. There was no one really that put up their hand. Like, can you think about the Sharks team and say, okay, well, this guy really actually put up his hand in a losing performance? There was just nothing. Absolutely just nothing. That's how it felt watching that game. Anyway, let's move on to the Stormers game. And I'm a massive Stormers fan. I love the Stormers. Just awesome, shocking. I just spoke about the ref. Obviously, most of my things here are targeted when it came to the reffing stuff. Most of it came to the Stormers game. We were shocking. We were never in that game. Maybe like for a couple of minutes, right? When we thought we scored, it got withdrawn, could have been 14-14, but after that, just lay down, flat. We didn't come out of the blocks at the start of the game. Nothing. There was nothing. Nothing from the Stormers. I mean, Leland Zas had a good game. Warwick Galant had a good game. That's it. Why is Brock Harris still our prop? I don't have an issue with Brock Harris, but why has it come to that point where we still have a 38-year-old in the scrum that's literally been a coach a few weeks back? Like, it is a farce. We sell our best players, we sell our workhorses, and there's no replacements. There was just nothing looking at the Stormers team. And I love the Stormers. I love Damian Willemse. Bad game. I love Dan du Plessis. Bad game. Like, both of them. Really, Ben Jason Dixon. I've been an advocate of Ben Jason Dixon. The guy was nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. The only guys that really put up their hand, Leland Zas, Warwick Galant, Ruben van Heerden, JD Schikkerling. Those were the only guys that really did anything. Keke Morabe, as good as he was against Zebra, the guy couldn't catch shit. He couldn't catch anything. I don't know what was going on. Like, this, I finally thought, listen, we are going to turn a page and we're actually going to put up some performances when we're away from home. And you look at that 2022 Stormers team, how good we were, and then it's just like after that, well, even 2023, because obviously we played in the final then, but the drop-off since then, in about a year, has been something to behold. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's the guys not playing for the jersey and everything. I had so much hope after watching the game last weekend against Zebra, and then I'm just like, what is going on? Like, what? Seriously, what is going on? Like, our attacking threat, nowhere without Mani. Mani needs to get back into this team immediately. Like, no scrum dominance, just knock-ons all over the place, leaking points defensively. It's a tough watch at the moment as a Stormers fan, and I used to think for the past couple of years we were the most exciting team to watch. You look at this flary running rugby, we don't even do that. Like, I can't even see our backline moving. Like, what has happened over here? I'm no expert. I'm just talking from a fan perspective. Obviously, the experts can analyze the game and talk more about it. But I'm just like, purely on what I see, there's just nothing at the moment. Like, it's actually scary. I actually feel scared. Watching my team, and it's like, well, have we dropped from being the best franchise in the last 2 years to being the worst South African franchise? Because that's literally how it is. We are last on the log. Literally 16th. Yeah, we've played a game less, right? But we are 16th. It's not good enough. Because now we're coming home and we got to play Munster. You know how good Munster is when they travel to South Africa. Like, seriously, let's move on. Okay, Bulls versus Ospreys, clinical Bulls at the start. Once again, second half, drop off. Can't keep doing that. Can't keep doing that. Obviously, they played with 13 men on the field at one point. But the Bulls were great in that first 35 minutes, I would say. But obviously, once again, they just need to fix up on that second 40. Letting the Ospreys back into this game. I think they were in the lead 26-0. 26-0 in the first half. To let them back in 19 points. Ospreys are no walkover team by any stretch of the imagination. But still, 26-0 and then ending on 19-29. I don't know. Once again, Cameron Hanekom comes onto the field, instant impact. Ulrich Low, scintillating. Willie Leroux, wow. Wow. Can I just say wow? So good. But yeah, obviously, Ambrose Papier as well. Once again, brilliant. Scored a brilliant try as well. But yeah, the Bulls will take this victory. I mean, the Ospreys, no easy place to go to. They smashed the Stormers, getting their bonus point victory as well. 5 points in the bag. There you go. And then finally, we had the Lions when it comes to the South African franchises. I didn't really watch this game. But obviously, Dragons, I spoke about them. It's not an easy team to beat at home. The Lions have gone there. They got their 4 points. They move on. They won't care. They're in third spot at the moment with the game less being played. So, yeah, it's looking really good for the Lions at the moment. Let's move on to the rest of the games. Glasgow Warriors took on Zebra, absolutely smashed them. Once again, a clinical show. Zebra comes out of the blocks. They look good at the start, and as soon as they concede points, they just go back to being Zebra, you know. So that would be disappointing for them, but we know the record of Glasgow at home. No one really had any expectations of an upset here, so it was 33-3. Yeah, no real surprises. Was it Franco Smith? Monster of a coach. Sharks should get him. That's my opinion. Just get Franco Smith. Throw the bag. You've got all the money in the world. I know you just built a house in Scotland. He can go there for vacations. Just get him over to the Sharks. You'll be fine. Cardiff versus Scarlets, upset. I didn't expect this one. I thought Cardiff will take it, but once again, Cardiff doesn't win by much, they don't lose by much, and once again, they didn't lose by much. Close game with Scarlets, but Scarlets took it in the end. I thought Cardiff had a nice little comeback, if I'm not mistaken. I think they were a good few points behind, made the comeback victory, got into the lead, and then just lost it against Scarlets. So yeah, surprise victory. It was a derby away from home. Scarlets takes it. Massive victory for them. They'll take a heap of confidence from that one, which means they are 10th at the moment. But obviously, there's just 2 points between 10th and 16th. So, yeah. Anyway, Leinster, Munster, once again, in that first half, Leinster just shows how good they are. They just looked levels above, kind of looked like they were in second gear, cruising all along. I know Munster had a try disallowed. But yeah, Leinster never looked like losing this game. Munster, they'll want to bounce back, but they're going to South Africa now, and obviously we know they do like travelling to South Africa. But yeah, Ergie Snyman scores against his previous team. That'll be like a stab in the heart. Obviously took the ball with one hand out of the air, which was absolutely class. Crowley, not Crowley, Frawley, once again, spoke about it on the podcast. He should be the 10 for Ireland. I love Crowley. I think Crowley is great. But Frawley just looks on another level at the moment. He looks like he wants to take that 10 jersey in the Ireland team. And I wouldn't put it past him to get that 10 jersey in the upcoming Six Nations. Or even in the end of the year. Yeah. Finally, Ulster, Connacht predicted a close game. I said Ulster by, 3-4 points. They got it in the end by 5 points. That was what I expected. I just thought the home ground advantage would get them over the line. And in the end, it did. It did. Let's move on to just look at the standings after round 4. So Leinster, Glasgow, Lions top it. Really impressed with the Lions being in third spot with the game less than everyone else. Leinster, once again, Bulls, Leinster, and the Lions, the only undefeated teams this far. All three of them looking really good. Obviously, Glasgow got the upset loss in round 1, but since then they've just looked unstoppable. So those 4 kind of look clear of the rest at the moment. Like they look in a league of their own. Obviously on paper the Lions probably shouldn't be up there, but they're playing some beautiful rugby. The Bulls looking good, obviously. Bulls always just do it in 40 minutes. That's basically how the Bulls win games. yeah, Stormers dead last, 16th. Obviously a game less than everyone else though. Them and the Sharks 14th as well. But the Sharks, especially the Sharks, you probably expected them to be higher when you look at the teams that they played. Like, I expected them to beat Connacht. They should have beat the Dragons by more. Should have won this weekend against Benetton, in my opinion. So, yeah, in my opinion, they should have been 3 from 3. They could have been in the top 5. Stormers, I mean, I wasn't that surprised after seeing the Stormers lost against Ospreys. I was very surprised. Not very surprised. We should have beat Zebra, and I thought this was going to be a close one. But in terms of performances, that is my big issue with the Stormers. It's like it's a shocking performance against Ospreys. It's a good performance against Zebra. It's a shocking performance against Edinburgh. Those are, yeah, I don't even know what to say. We'll just end it there. I appreciate you guys for watching. Please do remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.